Welcome to this week's meaningful midweek conversation. You join us here. It's myself, Lisa, from A Life Full of Meaning, Maxine from Never Too Late Our Journey, and Paul from Narrowboat Life Unlocked. If you don't know, we are three YouTube vloggers that love to get together once a week and just have a good chat about, we pick a subject, we unpick it, we explore it, and then it leaves us pondering usually until the next week when we pick another subject. So that's the way it goes. We are very happy if you're joining us live on this broadcast. If you're catching up, hello to you too as well. So before we get into this week's subject, let's do a little bit of catching up. Where are we? What we've been up to? And thank goodness, I'm touching wood. We've all got good internet this week after last week's diabolical internet connection fail. So anyway, we've all got good internet. Maxine, do you want to go first?
Yeah, we are about 3 or 4 miles from Foxton Locks, which we are heading to later on. As soon as we finish today, we were going tomorrow, but because it's forecast for a very hot day, we've decided we're going to go this afternoon and go down and find a mooring.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, so we just had we've been in this place for 3 days, but we did a bit of cruising early and just having chill this week.
Nice. Because after Crick, you went to your mum's, didn't you? And then you've obviously come back. You've done a couple of days of cruising and just calming after the whole Crick madness. So excellent. I've never done Foxton Locks before. I've heard about them, I've seen pictures, but I've never done them. So I can't wait to hear about them. So next week,
should
Maxine, tell us all. Tell us all.
Will do.
Paul, thanks, Maxine. Paul, where are you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, we're on the Trent and Mersey, which is a brand new canal for us. Never done it before. And it was a bit of a shock a couple of days ago. Anthony got off the boat at Dursbury and cycled back for the car, which was good of him. But then that left me on the boat on my own, and I had to go through 3 tunnels all on my own. Trying to film, had the dog with me. I'm not great in tunnels anyway. I'm sure I've got night blindness. It's terrible, but luckily not a mark on the boat, which I'm really pleased about. And we're not far from Anderton Boat Lift.
Oh, nice.
Oh, exciting. Well, I have actually been on Anderton Boat Lift, but on like the trip boat.
Oh, yeah.
So not like ourselves. So
I think I saw your picture, a bit like the pleasure beach where you're doing that.
Are you going to do the boat lift?
Definitely, yes. Hopefully this weekend.
I can't wait to hear about that. Yeah, that's going to be fabulous. That's going to be fabulous. Glenn is here in the corner. I mean, I haven't put him in the corner. He's just sitting there. But I've just heard his phone go off. So if you hear strange talking, it's Glenn. So that's very cool.
I met him last week rubbing down the boat.
Yeah, I know, with that orbital sander. I'm sure he caused the problem with the internet, I'm sure. That's exciting, Paul. Anderton Boat Lift, very exciting. Yeah, can't wait to hear about that either.
We're a bit nervous because one of the caissons isn't working. I think they're letting less traffic on than they have been. So hopefully we won't get trapped on that for 6 months.
Oh, man. Could you imagine? What a nightmare. No, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to watch your vlog on that one. That would be brilliant. So where am I? Well, we're back at the little house. We did some cruising last week and it was so lovely. And Chloe, our daughter, has moved house this week. That's been very busy. And we're just having a nice week, really, a nice easy week. So that's us all caught up. Shall we jump in with today's topic? And today's topic is about being offended. Okay. Are you easily offended, or do you just let it go over your head? Anyway, the reason I ask, Where have you all gone? Where have you all gone? Oh, are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Did anything happen to your screen just then?
No.
No.
Lisa.
My goodness me. It's like I've got gremlins. My Mac screen just went blank completely. If that happens again, I'm just going to carry on as if you can't see anything. So anyway. Oh, first, let's just say hello. So we've got Kat and Little Native crocheting. Hello and welcome. Welcome to you. My screen is just doing that. I'm just going to.
Oh, yeah, Pete and Caroline as well from One Day More Aboard. Hello.
Oh yes, hello. Let me just quit a couple of things on my computer. Sorry, this is so unprofessional of me. It's just it's like stuff's just like popping up and all sorts. Anyway, that should do it. Yes. Hello, One Day More Aboard as well. So, can you hear music?
No, I had a play.
No. It's just going over me now. Sorry.
Oh.
Right, let's get into this. Being offended. So, 3 things happened to me this week. Not great things, I've got to admit. And I'm going to share them with you because there was such a big lesson for me in all this mess that I have to share it. So, last week, out of the blue, I get a text message from a friend, which was basically, Lisa, you never contact me. You're not, the friend I want anymore. Bye, sort of thing. That summed it up. And I looked at it so out of the blue. I was like, oh, like this. I was like, I was just like, I must admit, I've got loads of friends. Some I only see a couple of times a year. This friend was in that group, right? Only a couple of times a year. Obviously, that wasn't what that friend wanted. And I didn't even see it coming. So I went through, in about 3 minutes, I went through a range of emotions from complete sadness, anger, like bewilderment, like outrage to, oh man, I went through all of them. Anyway, while I was taking a moment to be offended by this text, I was like, what if I just stop for a second, not be so offended, and just focus on this friend and what they're actually saying? So I went back with I did consider going back with oh, okay, all right, bye. But then I decided not to, and I was like, I said, I'm sorry. I thought we were both okay with the way our friendship was. I didn't realise that you wanted more. That it was important for you to see me more. I didn't realise. So I took some time to understand what they wanted, and then to consider, was that what I wanted? And then we both agreed that we really enjoyed our friendship. So we agreed to meet, and I know now this is about that whole friendship, communication, boundaries. I know what that friend expects of our relationship. I'm very happy with it, and we can proceed. So I was like, excellent. I was like, well done, Lisa. Well done. You've kept a good friend, and you've learned something about, I did panic that all my other friends that I only see a couple of times a year were all sitting there thinking, Lisa's such a crap friend. So I did message loads of people saying, I'm really sorry I haven't been in contact, must like get together soon. So anyway, then when our vlog went out, so that was fine, that was all sorted. And then when our vlog went out, we got 3 comments from one person who was obviously really angry. And normally I'm just like, I can't control what that person thinks. I just wish they'd stop watching. They're obviously putting themselves through real torture watching our videos. That's making them so angry. Please just stop watching. Anyway, one of the comments was about us being like alcoholic Brits, and I thought, I had 2 alcoholic drinks in the whole week, not just on the video, in the whole week. And then I was a bit like offended. I was like, how dare you think I'm an alcoholic, whatever. I've had 2 drinks. I didn't respond though. I didn't respond. I was like, no, let it go. Let it go. Okay. So that was the second one. The third one sideswiped me the next day when a friend did something that I felt was completely outrageous. And I was shocked, and I was just like, how very dare you? And I was seriously offended. And I went to bed that night, and I was uptight. Yeah, I was raging.
I bet you didn't sleep much.
No, I didn't sleep. And you know what I did? When I did sleep, I dreamt that I was having a conversation with them. So I woke up the next morning and I was like, right, let's get this sorted. And I was like, how very dead. I was super offended. And I sat on my bed. I literally sat right up and I was like, let's sort this out. And I was like, right, what choices do I have here? And then a little voice from the back of my head said, oh, you've got a choice to be offended or not offended. And I was like, oh. I was so het up at this point. I was like, oh. And I was like I can choose. I can choose to not be offended. So there and then, that second, I chose not to be offended. And something I didn't expect happened. Everything, all that emotion that I've been raging about, it dissipated. It just disappeared. Completely went. Because I chose. Brilliant. I chose not to be offended. And I actually spoke to that person later that day.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention it because I didn't need to, because I was choosing not to be offended. And there was no, while I was talking to them, I was like, there was no, you did this to me. Do you know what I mean? There was none of that. There was none of that. It just didn't matter. It gone. It had vanished. So the moral of this very long story is being offended. Is it a choice? And does choosing not to be offended mean that we live a happier life? I'm going to stop talking for a second and I'm going to throw that to you guys and see what you think. So, Paul, do you get offended easily?
Yes, 100%. Anthony says I'm too touchy and too sensitive, and when we used to get mean comments, it really got to me and I lost sleep over it. And he said to him, it's just like water off a duck's back, and he couldn't care less what people think of him. Right. But then my question to you guys is, let's say somebody said something that was a dig at Glenn or Steve. Would you be able to let that go, or would you feel protective towards them?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to let that go. Yeah. I wouldn't be. Isn't that weird? How I suppose it's the thing is I've got the choice. I choose to let something go. What do you think, Maxine? Would you be able to let that go?
Not if it's somebody about Steve. No, I would get cross about it. But me personally, I can let things go nowadays. I didn't used to.
I was going to say, Maxine, do you get offended easily or not?
Not anymore. I used to, but I don't. The last probably couple of years, I've just thought, it's no, no, anybody can do it. No, it's not. It's taking time away from me sort of thing, and no, I don't. Anybody can say what they want to know. Yeah, I know how I feel and what I want.
Let's ask everybody watching. Let's see what everyone is saying. So So hello, Ben. Hello, Neil. Hello, Joan. Hello, everyone that's just joining us. Joan says, let's highlight that one. Strangely enough, I saw a quote this morning: know your worth, don't be brought down by toxic people. Yeah, that's a good one. And Neil brings up a great point, and I was going to mention boundaries. We choose our own battles. It's down to boundaries again, and setting your boundaries. Neil was spot on with this, because it's one of the things I thought about once the anger and the outrage and being offended had dissipated. I sat there for a moment and I thought, how do I not stop this happening again? Because I can never control other people, but how do I make sure that I don't get myself into situations? And then I thought exactly the same as Neil. Comes down to boundaries, which we've spoken about, haven't we? Setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And we spoke about friendship, which is why I should be a bloody expert on it, but obviously not. Obviously not.
We choose how to deal with it, don't we? Because know your comment you had, Lisa, I think it may be from the same person, because we got one shortly after Crick and we were gobsmacked, and we recognised this name from the channel, so they've been watching us a long time. And he said, I feel I need to say something. Well, no, you don't. When it's being offensive. What's going on with Anthony's hair? Because I find it repulsive. Yeah.
How dare they?
How can you? Like, why would you feel the need to tell someone that? So I just took a screenshot of about 10 actors and models with a man bun and said, it's quite trendy. Anthony's not got time to dry his hair with a hairdryer. And at the end of the day, it's what's inside that matters, surely, not what a person looks like on the outside. And then this guy said that he was a musician in his 70s and maybe he's not down with the younger people, which made us feel slightly better. But, and he tries to embrace other people's lifestyles. And to me, it was just, we just laughed at it because we thought,
well, that's such a random comment, isn't it? But I just don't get why people keep putting themselves through the pain of watching people that make them angry, or I don't know. So I don't know.
I suppose that's it, isn't it? We could be offended by it, we could laugh about it, and I suppose it is easy. It's just getting a thick skin. We were laughing last week on the Barton Bridge, waiting to cross the Barton Aqueduct, and there was a guy behind us, a boater, and he looked, sort of relaxed dress style, but not scruffy. And he said he was walking along the canal one day and a lady was feeding the ducks and took pity on him and said, would you like this loaf of bread? It's only just gone out of date. We couldn't stop laughing.
Oh man, that is so.
Sorry, I digress.
We're complex beings, aren't we? Yeah. And Kat says, not easily offended, but don't be against family and friends. Ben says, I don't get easily offended because my thinking karma will come back and bite you in the end. Yeah. Okay, but sometimes I think this is the thing. It's not always someone doing something wrong. It's someone doing something we don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference. They're going out there, living their life, and it's our interpretation of it that we don't like. So that complicates the whole karma thing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go there. Maybe we need to do an episode on karma. I don't know. I think Pamela says, I think some people do it on purpose just to upset you. I came off Facebook once because of people were rude. It used to make me cry. Oh, Pamela, I'm not. I get you. I understand completely. I think when I looked at the 3 comments on our YouTube channel, there was nothing in those 3 comments by the same person that was designed to make us feel good. It was a deliberate, you know, to make us feel crap. And at the end of the day, what I realised is I've got that choice whether to feel crap or not. Joan, would people be as blunt to your face? Keyboard warriors. Yeah, I think. I think it's I think technology, and we've talked about technology before, haven't we? That's one of those that's that has enabled this form of communication. And also it's very easily to get offended by people's point of view online. Facebook, I'm looking directly at you, you know, when you're scrolling. And I think that's why there's so much anger, hate and frustration on Facebook. And Facebook groups can be the worst, because you'll have someone say something and then someone will be offended or they'll disagree and they don't keep scrolling. Oh no, they're like, I am. So they're offended, so they write there and then everyone piles in. And then
blame war. And it's because you don't know the tone behind it either, do you? So it would be much better if those people could speak to you face to face, but you never know the tone behind what they're saying. That's the problem.
No, absolutely. Eric says, Lisa, my wife Peggy really enjoys your video and says she is sure she would be friends of you if she lived closer. Oh, that is lovely.
It is lovely, Lisa, but now Maxine and myself are offended. No mention of us.
No, sorry. Peggy's my friend. Peggy's my friend.
It's all right, Eric. We're not falling out with you.
Neil says I could write a book on karma. Oh well, Neil is the man that we need to speak to when it comes to karma. So
what comes around goes around. That's the saying I heard a long time
ago. All of that. Oh, Sally, I'm already all of your friends. Yes, and that is lovely, and that is because you know, I don't know about Paul and Maxine, but I feel that everybody that watches our videos are our friends, because so many lovely relationships, you know, comments and meeting people. I feel that. So when someone leaves a comment on your one of your videos, it's like they're coming into your house and offending you. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange one. So let's have a look. One day more aboard. It's so hard not to dwell on the one negative comment in the middle of loads of lovely comments on your vlogs, however ridiculous they are. That's so true, isn't it? That's so true, that you're focused on them, which is why when that situation happened, not on the comments, but the following day, where I was so angry and wound up, and I consciously chose to not be offended. When I say it dissipated, it was almost like it left me instantly. And so I think there's really something in choosing to be offended or not offended by something. So let's bear that in mind. What does offend you? Have you got things that you find yourself offended by? So the things that do offend me, I'm not talking about friends, I'm not talking about I get really offended if I see people being spoken badly to. Do you know, that offends me. You know, obviously sort of racist behavior or anything like that, I do get quite offended by that. Up until the last couple of years, I was offended by bad service in shops. Like, I would seriously get a huff on if, like, you know, people were rude in shops. Now it just doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I think they're having a crap day. So is there anything that you notice, and actually it doesn't have to be a big thing, you know, that you get offended by? Is there any sort of small things that you notice that you get offended by?
Mine's bad manners. I really just, you know, it really, really does offend me. Or there's no need for it. Just please and thank you. It doesn't take, you know, it's seconds to say. But very few people seem to do it these days. That really does
that gets you back up. That goes. I think a lot of people will be with you on that one, Maxine. For sure. Paul, is there anything that you've noticed that gets your back up that you get offended by?
Yeah, when I get out of the car to go to the shops, if they don't open the door for me and put down a red carpet, I'm offended.
Obviously, you don't shop at Waitrose, Paul.
No. Yeah, it is. It's like Maxine said, that's a really good point, actually. I find people being rude, and it doesn't cost anything to be nice. I get offended by that. And if they're rude to other people as well, I get more offended. And I think if the little guy's getting picked on by the big guy, if that makes sense, you know, it's like, yeah. If I see kids fighting, I'm like, I want to go, oi, and then I realise I'm playing. Leave that little kid alone.
Yeah. I do too. In fact, Glenn will tell you there's times where we've driven down the road and I've spotted something. I'm like, Glenn, stop the car. And I'm like, stop it. Glenn's like, Lisa, they weren't kids. They were men. I was like, I don't care. I'm not seeing fighting on the streets. Told them off in a proper mum style.
And it worked, didn't it? Yeah.
Well, I'm with you there. You know, it makes me think that being offended and righteousness, or as I'm going to call it, rightness, is very linked. So what we believe is right, we get offended when that's not, you know, people don't behave in the way that we think is right. How easy is it to see things from another's perspective? Or do we even have to do that? Or do we just say, I choose to let this go? I don't know. Is it to stop and understand where they're coming from and interact, or is it just move on by? I don't know. What do you reckon?
I think you can try and look at it in somebody else's view, but their view may be theirs, and that's it, and you'll never come to that. So I think it's something you have to deal with yourself and just think, do you want to get involved and carry it on, or do you just be the bigger person and just say, no, they have their view, I have mine, and that's it. We just live differently and we listen differently and accept everything like that.
Paul, what do you reckon?
It depends what's going on in that person's life, doesn't it, as well? I mean, it's easy. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a real difficult one. There could be something going on in that person's life, but then I think, again, going back to being offended, I think if, say, for instance, it's somebody in a serving behind a counter, and I know they have to put up with a lot of rubbish from the general public because, you know, there are some people out there who are difficult to deal with and go out of the way to make people's day unpleasant. But then I think, you know, if you're working in a service industry, just be nice, because you should just be nice to everyone. I think you should treat everybody equally. And I think this is one of my pet hates. When you go into a shop and you're treated like you're invisible, so you say hello and they ignore you and they serve you and they carry on talking to the person next to you, and you walk out and you felt totally invisible. And you think, do you know what? If that was somebody famous or a sports person, they would have treated them completely differently, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Like a VIP. And I think, you know, we try to be nice to everyone, and I think that's why we're offended when people aren't nice to everybody back.
Yeah, good point. Good points. Let's just have a look at some of the comments. They're coming in thick and fast. Oh,
Well, Pamela's got a good one.
Oh, I just want to say hello to Dartmoor UK Prison Stories. They're in Brixham in the house. Oh, we're going to be in Brixham next week. Right. Next Wednesday, we're going to be there. Nice. Sally, I guess the more subscribers you get, the more common the negative comments are. Yeah. Now up to 400 subscribers, so ready with my suit of armour. Sally, honestly, don't worry. I mean, the thing... we don't get many. We do not get many, which is why it's like makes you think when you do get them. Sally, pop your video, your vlog name in the comments as well, so people can go and check you out. Sally's agreeing. Rudeness, basic good manners. People talking behind your back and you find out about it. Yeah, I think it's really hard to not get offended with that one. I think we'd all get offended. I mean, how do we not get offended in a situation like that? How? Well, at the end of the day, I suppose it comes down to a bit of what Neil said, boundaries. You then create a boundary that says, well, these people, if they're talking about me, they're obviously not close friends. You create boundaries. Talking of creating boundaries and friends, after these 3 things happened in literally that one day after another, there was one point where I thought, I don't want any friends. I'm going to I'm coming offline. It was very dramatic. I'm coming offline. I'm not going to do the vlog. I'm not going to have Facebook. I'm going to have no friends. It's just going to be me and Glenn. So
yeah, I know how you feel, because like everything gets to you, doesn't it? And you know, that comment the other week, and then you know, other things happen and you think, oh, is it worth it? And but and something that I meant to say earlier, that one negative comment out of thousands of people, I sort of compare it to being on stage and having a heckler. Whereas, I mean, you know, most of my audiences were family audiences, and it was usually a child who didn't know any better, who'd be heckling and thought they were funny. And it used to get to me, and I thought, well, hang on, there's another 100 children here who were really enjoying it. Concentrate on them. And you know, and I turned it around, because if I got a heckler in the end, I loved it, because I had all these lines that got good laughs. It's the same, isn't it? It's like putting up with that heckler. You know, we see comedians who get heckled, and if they handle it right, it can make the night. But if they don't handle it right, it spoils it for everyone.
It's a difficult one, but I think the realization of not getting offended, it has just been, well, it's just the fact that it's my choice, my choice whether to get offended. So a lot of people are saying, Kat and Neil both saying, people being nasty to people who can't protect themselves. Neil saying he gets offended when he sees disrespect towards disabled people and lack of compassion. I think that is common. You know, that's as in the 3 of us have said along the similar lines. And I think, you know, it just goes to show we're good people. Not we're good people. I mean, there's good people are good, is what I'm going to say. Do you know what I mean? People always feel that people aren't, but I think we are.
It's the minority that spoil it for the majority, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Pamela, some people change when they are behind the wheel, shouting and bibbing and sticking their fingers up. That makes me mad. Just calm down. We were behind an older person driving a couple of nights ago, and he was going round a roundabout slowly. He obviously hadn't decided where he was. He was lost. And this woman came racing around. She was like, and I was like, give the man a chance. You're not helping. You know.
Pamela, all I'm saying is don't get in a car with Anthony. I'm gonna record him so he sees what he's like. He's a different person behind the wheel.
Well,
I'm not
I
very good behind the wheel.
wonder again if that's because we're insulated. We feel away from the world.
Yeah.
And again, the same as people, you know, who are keyboard warriors, they're insulated, you know, they're away from
Because let's say you're in a queue for food and somebody's looking a bit lost. You want, excuse me, get out of my way, and start swearing at them.
You just wouldn't, would you? So yeah. Oh, so hello to people just joining us. Anfield Road Lau in the loft, hello. And Susan, she's finally caught a live one. So it's a serious conversation. Well, I don't know about that, Susan. Yeah. Sally's sharing a vlog there. A dog, a husband, and a wide beam boat. So yeah, go check that out. Too many people here. Not happening, Lisa. Too many people here who are about you and Glenn, Paul, and Maxine too. That's a lovely comment, Kat. I'm not sure where it fits in, but anyway. So
it was about you leaving.
Was it? That's it. I'm off. I'm so glad that didn't last. I'm so glad that didn't last. So, how do we stop ourselves? What actions can we take that remind us at that point where we're about to be outraged and offended by something, that it's our choice and we can just let it go?
Yeah, you can't please all of the people all of the time, and if somebody doesn't like something about you or something you've done, then that's their personal choice. You know, somebody might love you too and hate us, and that we shouldn't be offended by it, because it's just everybody's got their different personalities and their likes and dislikes. So I mean, something happened to us at Crick and I chose not to be offended by it and not to lose any sleep over it, because I thought, well, I can either let this person get to me and keep thinking it over and over and over, and like Anthony said, it's just not worth it.
No,
it's not going to make your life happier, is it? No.
Do you think from that experience, though, that then, so you make that choice, I'm choosing not to be offended by that. I'm letting that person get on with whatever. But from that experience, it just reminds, you know, you just create boundaries more. I don't mean like barriers. I mean healthy boundaries of this is what I'm prepared to give to friendships. This is, you know, and each friendship is different. As my very first experience that I had showed me, I was expecting one thing from a friendship. My friend was expecting something else. Neither of us was wrong. We just felt differently, and it wasn't, you know, so we were able to have a conversation. In some circumstances, you can't have a conversation with, you know, someone, or you don't want to, but you just create a firmer boundary how you'll interact. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you think as we all get older, you know, we put things into perspective, don't we? I think if that had happened to you when you were 15, you'd have probably fallen out with that person, and it'd have made your time in school miserable. But as you get older, you think in the great scheme of things, it's not the end of the world, is it?
No, it's not. But Paul, I've got, does it work like that? Or do you find that older people, as we get older, some get more and more offended as they get older? Do you see what I mean? They get, because maybe they just feel that their way is right, their thoughts are right, and they become more stuck in their ways, so become more offended.
What do you think, Maxine?
It's the other side.
I do. I think sometimes you can when you get older and older. But I went back home. Was it 2 weeks ago? No, well, just over a week ago. And I'd arranged to see a friend. We messaged and said yes. I messaged to say everything's still okay for tomorrow, and I'm going out. I'm having a meal with everybody, but you can come too if you want. When, but like Steve family and said, "Oh, that's not very fair," and everything. I said, if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do.
Yeah,
I'll go and do something else. And
Yeah.
a few years ago, that would have really upset me.
Yeah.
But now I just thought, oh well, obviously it's not that important, so I'll go and carry on living my life and doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to, it's that balance, isn't it?
Yeah. Sally says age definitely helps. Take a deep breath and know it's their problem, not yours. Yeah. Neil says, Paul, you'd said you never know what people are going through. A motto of mine is always look at the bigger picture. It often helps me evaluate the situation. Kat is falling asleep. It's 4:37 a.m. Kat, go to sleep. Honestly.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep.
We're not saying you need it, Kat. We don't want to offend you.
Just,
Lisa and Maxine, can I just tell you quickly? A friend of ours doesn't like rude staff in shops.
Right.
And this woman was quite rude to her. And our friend said, "Are we having a bad day?" Sarcastically. And then this woman started telling her a life story. She's like, all the things that was going wrong in her life. And she hadn't said that.
I've actually asked somebody in the shop, not in a like, are you having a bad day sort of. I actually asked someone, "Are you okay?" Because and this is actually when my being offended at poor customer service, actually, I sort of let it go. This lady was just so rude to me at the checkout. And I felt myself go. You know, when you feel yourself, like, you know, you grow an inch, don't you? You go like this. And,
do you know who I am?
Yeah. and I said to her, "Are you okay?" And it jolted her, you know, it jolted her. And she went, "Oh, you know, not really," and whatever. But you never know what's going on, the bigger picture and all of that. But I think for me, the learning is about choosing that moment, how I stop that moment and I choose to let it go. I think for me, that's my biggest learning out the whole thing. Being aware. Maybe we have to be present in that moment to take that on. I had a question there. Oh, my question. I think it was I can't remember who said something, and I thought, well, here's a good thing. Do you worry about offending others?
No.
Yes.
Do you? Well, this is interesting. Right.
Yeah.
Paul, you go first. You just don't worry about it.
I said no, because I suppose I go out of my way to try and be nice. And I don't think I've ever deliberately said something that would offend someone.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. Well, it would depend how they wanted to take something. That's the thing, isn't it? You can't control that. You can't control how someone says something, how someone receives something.
Actually, I have offended somebody recently, and it was, somebody had made a comment on one of our YouTube vlogs a couple of weeks ago, and I just said, "Oh, what a lovely comment." I've noticed it's the first time you've ever commented on our channel. Thanks for watching. And they were offended by that. And I thought,
you see, that's the thing, you see. You can't, that's exactly it. You can't control how someone takes what you say. You can't. No. Just as we can't control. So, Maxine, you do worry about people getting offended. What are the sort?
Because if I'm very honest, if you're very honest with somebody, then and say how it is, then I wouldn't want them to be offended by it. But it's how I feel at the time. So obviously discuss it a bit further. But some people I know can take it the wrong way, and I know it has happened.
Yeah.
But, especially with the situation from last week. Because I just said, well, don't worry about everything. And I know that I offended her because I didn't go to meet up with everybody else. But that's life.
That's a tricky one. I'm sort of in the middle with this one. I'm a bit like you, Paul. I would hate to offend people. I always try to show up and be my best self. Do you know what I mean? The best version of me, I think, as Oprah would say. But you know, I always try and bring my best self. And I know what I would deliberately not want to offend or hurt. Oh,
Sorry. Bexy's just done something.
Jumps off the boat and chases someone down the towpath.
Touches someone's leg.
But on the other side of that, well, you know, we talked about boundaries a couple of weeks ago. By setting a boundary, someone might get offended about that. And that's the situation. Setting a boundary is good for me. They may get offended that I've set that boundary. So I think, without sounding too corny, and this is going to be in danger of it, all right? I think if you do something with as honest heart as possible, then if someone gets offended, I have to let that go. You know, I can't be responsible for the way someone else feels. So I can't be responsible for the, you know, for someone else making me feel a certain way. So I think I'll be interested to know. Just give us a quick yes or no in the comments if you're watching. Do you worry about offending others? So
can I just say, Anthony's brother-in-law, he's always been very, very sarcastic. But I think when people know you and your personality, he says some things that could be taken. If I said them, people would be offended by them. But when he says them, everybody laughs. And I think that's to do with the personality, isn't it? And he says some really, you know, near to the knuckle comments, but we all just laugh because that's just the way that person is.
Well, I've got a friend. We've all got a friend like that. Louise from Narrowboat Changing Pace.
She's outrageous. Earlier.
She's outrageous. But I know her, and I know that. And she says things, and I think, oh, you know. But I know her sense of humour, and I know she has a heart of gold. So, you know, I'm never offended by some of the outrageous things she says to me. I'm like Louise, and then I think, oh, you know. So
Louise has said, I can't wait to meet Anthony's brother.
So Jodie, Joe, Neil are all saying yes, they worry about offending others. Joan says good friends know that we mean well and will immediately bring it up if there's a misunderstanding. Alfie, Susan, and they say yes, they worry about it. Jodie says even dogs get offended. That was probably the bargain. Susan says the written word especially can be interpreted the wrong way. Now here's one to discuss. Here's a good point. What about when we row with our partners? Do we offend them or not? Oh, it's like a weapon, a sword, a dagger. Man, well, what do you reckon to that one?
I think they probably are offended, aren't they? If we row.
Well, I think it's very easy. Well, not very easy to offend, but when harsh words
come from someone you really care about and love,
it's like
amplifies it, but in a way you wouldn't necessarily speak to somebody else like that. It's because you just know each other. I've
just actually seen Louise from Narrowboat Changing Pace is actually on. She don't usually watch these. That's why I was talking about her freely, as if she wasn't there.
She said, this is deep about Crick. I hope it wasn't me, she said. No.
I've only just seen that. Oh, yeah. Well, how are we doing for time? Oh, man, we've cracked on. We've chatted away for 50 minutes. We're going to have to wrap this up. thank you. Did you just go, oh, was that you, Paul?
Yeah,
I know.
really quickly.
We could chat for hours.
Yeah.
What did you once say, Paul? We could chat for hours about dust.
Yeah.
we could chat about anything. Just one thing, just before we go, there's just a couple of comments coming in that are flashing up. So this one, before we go, let's just, Sheila, I used to take everything personally and concerned not to offend anyone. Now I've realised I'm not in control of other people's thoughts and don't feel I have to apologise for who I am. I can relax. I love that. And combined with, as I said, if you feel that you're coming from a good, honest place where you don't, it's not your objection to cause harm or hurt, then that's good. Now I broke changing pace. Louise says, but isn't it about knowing when you're wrong and knowing when to apologise? Well, I've been offended by Louise from Now About Changing Pace many times, still waiting for an apology. Never. I'm only kidding. She's never offended me. And Jodie's put, there's a line you don't cross. And if you do, it's hard to come back from it. That's a firm boundary, Jodie, isn't it? That's firm. If you cross this line, there's no coming back. But there's a saying, isn't there? If you cross me once, fall on you. If you cross me twice, fall on me, or something like that. Something deep and profound. Anyway, so I'll probably look that up, but you get the gist. Yeah. Anyway, we are going to have to go. Thank you so much, Paul and Maxine. Thank you to everybody who's watched, listened, commented and been part of this conversation. I've really appreciated it. Thank you for letting me share, 3 experiences that were a roller coaster ride for me, really, and it helps sharing them, because if not, when you keep them inside, they can eat away at you. So thank you for allowing me the space to do that. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you all next week. Take care, have a good one, and see you next week. Bye.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye. Thanks for watching.